Hello, everybody. Let's talk about your identity. So, I know that a lot of us, and if you've been in my world for a while, you all know that I talk a lot about how our thoughts and our mindset and what we think about is very important, right? And the idea that our thoughts create our feelings and our emotions of how we feel. And then our emotions drive our actions and behaviors. And then the actions and behaviors eventually create a specific result that we create in our life. And so if you want to change a different result, then you have to go back to the root of it, which is to change your thoughts and changing how you feel. And today I want to introduce a a layer that is even beyond this, even before you start thinking about the thoughts and the feelings. It is this piece with the identity. Who are you being? What is your identity? Who are you being right now that is thinking this way? That is the person that's thinking this thought. Who are you being? That's the person that's thinking this thought and feeling these emotions, right? Even before we start thinking about understanding how you think and feel and your behaviors and changing your results, we want to really look at the identity. Who are you being, right? Which identity are you embodying right now that is thinking this way? If you are feeling anxious and you don't know how to make a decision, you feel doubtful at times, maybe you're being the person, the version of you that is that 13-year-old version of you when you were left behind by your friends, right? I don't know. But do you see there's a certain identity that you are embodying when you are thinking those thoughts? We are all multi-layered humans with different parts of us that exist, different thoughts different voices that sometimes come up within any one of us. In this one body, we hold so many different forms of us, different parts of us, right? There is inner child work that you can be with. There's your inner child, there's a 13 version of you, there's the 8-year-old version of you, there is a 20-year-old version of you, there's a 30-year-old version of you. There's different identity that you are embodying. And when you look to a future, what you want to create next, there's also a future identity that you are also practicing, embodying for yourself. And depending on our situation that's in front of us, we can activate and trigger, sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously, activate a version of ourselves that come up, that is here to lead, that is the person that speaks, that is the person that is a lot more the voice of that person is a lot more powerful than the other person. Let's say if you are someone who is used to having negative self-talk and someone who talks badly at yourself and who beats yourself up whenever you fail, someone who's like you can only be a perfectionist. Maybe you have this perfectionistic version of you that's like, I cannot make mistakes because growing up, if I make mistakes, then my family will really, really look down at me and I wouldn't feel belong, like I'm a part of the family. I feel like I need to please them all the time. I feel like I need to be that straight A student to have their approval and do whatever they say. Maybe there's this version of you, the straight A student identity, right? And maybe let's say in your business or at work, you made a mistake on something and that really caused you to spiral down. And this activates the straight A student within you, this identity that you hold. And that version of you is like, oh my gosh, you cannot fail. You just failed. That means you're a total failure. That means you're not good enough. That means you will never be able to accomplish again, and that you shouldn't try again because you will just suck at it. If you suck at it, something bad is gonna happen, so you should never do it. And then so this identity within ourselves take lead, right? It takes that wheel, and the more empowering and the higher version of ourselves is put at the back seat. And so this version of you is taking the wheel. And then so you start thinking thoughts like, I'm not good enough. I probably shouldn't do this. I don't feel capable. I don't believe I can do this. Right. And sometimes we don't see that because we're so stuck in our drama of our thoughts and of our feelings. We're like, I have so many limiting beliefs. How do I change it? But you cannot change your limited belief if you're still the person who is that straight A, perfectionistic, deeply wounded self. Do you see? And so this is why identity is so important. Before you even dive into trying to solve the problem, changing to start thinking differently, to feel differently, really ask yourself this question: which identity am I embodying right now? Who am I being right now? So what I want to share with you with the work that I do with clients, I always like to help people create two identities for themselves and have them name out what those two identities are, giving the specific milestone or the specific goals that they want to have, right? So one identity is one of your highest self. So this version of you is the person that you envision, the one that already have your goals achieved and accomplished. The version of you that you wish to become, that you wish to step into, that person has the lifestyle that you want. That person feels calm and collected and knows how to be with their anxious thoughts. That person takes risks. That person has a fulfilling career, a thriving business. That person has a joyful relationship with themselves, and that person has a joyful relationship with their partner. Maybe that person has a different family dynamic, and that person in general feels differently in their day-to-day. Maybe they feel more alive and feel more energetic, right? So there is an identity, one of your highest version of your highest self, and give that person a name, right? So that's the first one, the first identity that you want to think about. The second identity to think about is someone who is your default. So this version of you is what you tend to go to due to your programming and your conditioning growing up. Maybe you grew up in a very strict environment and you feel like you can't create your own rules because you have to always follow orders. And so what is this version of the default version that you always go to whenever things become hard, whenever you fail, you make a mistake, whenever you are in a deep, dark place? Who is this identity that you go to? Okay, and let me share with you my example. And you can be very fun with this and give your ideal highest self a name. And you can be very fun with it and really find a name that really sticks for you, right? And knowing that these two identities can also evolve and change over time as you also evolve and change in your life. So let me share with you my current two identities. So I have two identities right now. One is the broadcast Shirley. This is the version that I always default to, broadcast Shirley. And this version of her, she gets anxious easily. She lives in her own story. She is too afraid to take risks and to step out of her comfort zone. She's settling for what she's used to. She has money struggles and dramas that come up. She lives in her own self-pity when things get hard. And sometimes when things get hard, she's just like, F it, and then numbs out through social media or watching drama. She does not take responsibility of her life and what's happening with her life. She blames it on other people, on money, on just all the things except for herself. And she do things to gain attention and validation from people because internally she lacks that, and she guards herself so she's not being scammed and taken advantage of. She's very careful. She puts up a wall to protect herself, to defend herself in like a very reactionary way. So this is broadcast Shirley. Okay. And then my highest self right now, her name is Endearing Shirley. So this is the Shirley who puts herself out there. She acts her dorky and nerdy self when she wants to. She says and asks for what is on her mind. She enjoys the journey and the everyday process instead of focusing on instant gratification and focusing on what she doesn't have. She appreciates her life and loves her life so much, and she owns her ambition, and she actively sees herself as being ahead of the game and being a leader who also invites other people to lead with her. She knows her worth and knows that she is always loved and supported dearly. And because of that, she does not let her wall up. She lets it down because she knows that she's loved and she is supported and she feels safe, and she creates safety for herself and for others. She belongs anywhere she goes. And most importantly, she belongs with herself. Okay, this is Endearing Shirley. Notice how detailed I am about who they are and what they tend to go to when things are not right, right? For Broadcast Shirley and Endearing Shirley. And what I want to offer for you is to really think about the milestones that you are trying to create for your life right now, the lifestyle, how you want to feel, and that higher self, the ideal version of you that you want to step into. Who are they and what would they do in their life? How would they behave? And then think about your default and give your default name, right? And so whenever things come up, when you are working through your thoughts and the drama that's shared, really ask yourself, am I behaving from my higher self, or is it from my default self due to conditioning? And really ask yourself, who is talking right now? Who is speaking in my head, and who is being the loudest right now? Because the identity piece is very, very important. Who are you being to be the person who have your results, right? And we all know that in order for us to have the actual evidence in our life, first we start changing by how we think, how we feel, what we act, and overall it is changing who we are on an identity level, so then we can start thinking, acting, and showing up differently so that we can create different, tangible, evident outcome in your life. And so if you're like, okay, I hear you, I know that's important to create my identity. So like, how do I do it, right? What does that actually look like to start changing my identity and to start embodying with it? So I have two ways that I want to offer for you to start going about doing this. The first way is visualization. And you have probably heard about this very often. You're like, okay, I know visualization is very important. Knowing something is different from actually practicing it and doing it and feeling it like deeply in your bones in a way where you actually believe that it can be possible for you, that it can feel so real for you, right? There's a difference between you just half-assing it and just doing it on a surface level versus you actually being with it, feeling it in your nervous system, and visualizing the person that you want to be, right? And I'm not like trying to shame you or saying that it's bad that haven't been really feeling it and fully embodying it, because we all need that guidance and we all need that conscious and present space to be able to do that. So visualization is actually very important. Visualization is the idea of using the power of your mind to think and picture a image in front of you of what it will look like to become your highest self. And I want to offer for you the more specific and detailed about this that you can get, the better. right? So you know how sometimes you do a visualization and you know, a lot of people out there, they tell you to, you know, imagine a day in your life. What would that look like? I want to take it even more specific. I want you to imagine one moment of the person with the lifestyle and with the life that you want. Just one moment. So it can be a moment when you are sitting at a table drinking coffee. It can be a moment when you are sitting in front of your desk working. One moment in the life of your highest self. What would that look like? Because the more that you can feel into that one moment, the more you can embody and really imprint this work into your body somatically. So, for example, imagining one moment of your higher self. Maybe they are sitting at their desk drinking a cup of latte. Where are they sitting? What does their desk look like? What kind of desk is it? When are they sitting? Is it in early morning? Is it in the afternoon? What time would it be? What is the chair that they are sitting on? Is it soft? Is it hard? And in that moment, what's on their mind? Are they thinking about the rest of their day? Are they thinking about what they want to eat for dinner? Are they thinking about their business? Are they thinking about the weekend that's coming up or the vacation trip that they are taking? What are they thinking about? And in that moment, as they are drinking that cup of coffee, right, or latte, how does that first sip feel in your body? Is it warm? Do you feel the the hotness going through your throat and down into your stomach? Notice how detailed and granular you want this to be. What are you wearing in that moment? How do you feel? Maybe you feel alive. So what does aliveness feel like in your body right now? Right? I want you to actually there is one type of visualization where you are looking at yourself doing it. And there's another type of visualization where it's like, okay, after you finished fully imagining everything, I want you to actually step into her, step into them, step into that person who is drinking the coffee, who is taking that sip, right? How does the chair feel at your back? What does your stomach feel right now as you take down that sip of latte? What are you thinking right now? How does your shoulder feel like? What does your back feel like? Right? We want to feel it somatically when we are visualizing, because that is what will actually, that is how you actually practice taking what is in the future and what is just in front of you and actually, and actually putting it directly straight into the present moment as you are visualizing. Right? Experience this somatically on a body level in the nervous system. So that's the first thing I want to offer. And I do this in a very specific and detailed way with my clients to really help them step into their highest self and to make clear decisions from that place, to know how to always tap into that version of them. So visualization is a big one to really help you practice embodying and stepping into that version of you. The second tip that I want to offer for you is to take actions and to behave in a way that your highest identity would do, that your highest self / identity would do. And then you might be like, okay, I know this already, right? But again, all of this is, I really want you to even let what I'm saying today serve as a reminder for you to really practice in your life. Practicing and applying it is so much more important than just knowing it. We all know a lot of things, and it's very important to actually practice that in your life, like actually. And so the second tip is to actually take actions in a way that your highest self would do. Why? Because when you're moving, when you're doing something, the act of motion, it creates energy, right? And specific actions, specific decisions that you make, specific things that you do, actions that you do in your life, they generate energy that vibrates at a specific frequency. Like any actions, behaviors, motion that you take in your life that you do generates a specific frequency. And we want to take the actions that vibrate at the frequency of your highest identity, of the identity that you want to embody, right? So that you can become a match for what you want to be, and then you become a match for what you want to bring into your life. So this is energy stuff. This is also very, very practical work, right? Like the energy of how you feel when you know that you are slacking off and you maybe haven't gotten ready and you just sitting on the sofa and eating junk food that makes you feel bad and watching drama endlessly. When you're watching drama endlessly and not getting changed and sleeping lazily on the sofa and just doing that vibrates at a specific frequency, versus when you are out for a walk, thinking deeply about your work, thinking deeply about your next steps forward. That also, like the action of that also vibrates at a different energy. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying you can't lie on sofa and eat junk food, right? I'm just saying that there's specific frequency that vibrates differently when you're in these two states. You can completely and totally be your higher self and vibrate at that level and still sit on sofa and eat snacks and eat junk food when you do feel like it, right? Again, it depends on who you are being. And you really want to think about that specific version that you want to step into for your highest identity, your future identity that you want to embody. What would they do? Maybe they might sit on sofa and eat junk food. Maybe they might go out for a walk. Maybe they might go exercise. Maybe they might eat salad and choose more health conscious foods instead of junk food, right? Maybe they will go to that networking event instead of talking themselves into staying home. So these are all things that you can think about, and different things that you do, they do vibrate differently. And so when you start taking actions and behaving as if, right, as if you are the person of that future identity that you want to be, that will also help you to embody them more. Do you see? Because the more that you do it, the more energy matches, the more you are vibrating on that level, and the easier it will be for you to think like them, for you to feel like them, when you are also taking actions from that place. So would the highest identity, the future version of you, would they have a coach that they talk to and train their brain and train how they want to feel every week? Would they have a specific grounding practices that they go to, specific grounding routines that they go to regularly? Would they have, would they say no when their parents try to force things on them? Would they go out with a friend who they are not really that close with just because they are back in town? Right? These are questions you want to really ask yourself and really practice taking actions and behaving from this place. And I want to offer, if you feel stuck right now, if you feel like something is just not right in your life, really ask yourself, who are you being and which identity are you being, and which identity is taking the lead right now and which one is taking your wheel. Because when you practice visualizing and you practice taking actions and behaving and making decisions from your future identity, you will feel more calm, and you will know what is the next steps forward. You will know what you need to do to be able to be more empowered, to be able to get out of you feeling stuck, to be able to get out of you feeling lost. You will know what to do when you are taking actions and embodying your future identity, the person that you want to be. Right. And this affects all areas of your life, because we have one identity that we are embodying, and this version of ourselves goes out to make decisions in our relationships. This version of ourselves come home and act differently with our family. This version of ourselves show up differently in our business and at work as well. Right. So this is very, very crucial work. I talk about identity and identity work a lot with my clients, because there is a different, it's like a different game, right? Like once you change who you are and let that your future identity become your new normal, that is how we create results, like actual evidence in your life, super, super fast, in like a very fast and self-affirming way, in a way where when they come, you're just like, of course, because I've done all the inner work to be that person ready to create these actual results in my life, right? All right, I hope this has been helpful for you. Ask yourself, who are you being right now? Have an amazing day, everyone. Have an amazing week. I will talk to you next time. Bye.